The next tool that I want to talk about is definitely Jungle Scout. This is actually one that I wasn't familiar with until I came to Velocity. But I have found a lot of success with this tool and just all the things you can do with it. So to kind of give a internal example, James, what are we using Jungle Scout for on our current partners that allows us to help them better track their data and their information?
Yeah, it's really great API, a connection connected to the seller account. A couple of connections that are needed, but Amazon data is there, right? And sometimes in Seller Central, it doesn't put it in a nice format for you. Um, with Cobalt, what it'll do, it'll make, you can get real granular, but you can also get, some really cool graphics. So we use it a lot for reporting year over year, month over month, by ASIN or by account wide or even by brand. If you have multiple brands, you can kind of filter by brand. And then also on top of that is the advertising as well. So we can kind of see overall tacos. You can kind of see your ACoS levels. You can basically see everything that you want to see, but it keeps it in a real awesome control panel. And then what our clients like about it is right the functionality of the reporting. Okay, they like the graphs. They like to see, they see all that. So sometimes I think Amazon, we just in business reports, we only have a few graphs that we can look at and so forth. But we can get real granular of if you have multiple products in the segment or multiple products, you can do a pie, which series is selling the best, where you need to focus on. So you can really get some really, really, really finite data. That's all Amazon, but put in a real good way that you can make dashboards. You can customize different dashboards of how you kind of want to see and play different and see different things. Stephanie's got way way longer in this, and I think based off her knowledge of it, that's why we implemented it agency wide. It's just got a lot of good reporting features in there for us.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon was constantly been rolling out better ways for reporting and better insight for us over the years. I mean, they, have given us brand analytics, they've given us all this stuff. But one thing, like James was saying, is that they give us all the data, but it's all in little areas of Seller Central or Vendor Central where you have to compile several reports just to get the data that you need or that you want. And that takes a lot of time. I mean, it's knowing where to grab those reports and then knowing how to manipulate them. Like before Cobalt, I mean, there was times where our we were bringing in our CFO to write code in Excel just to create like a metric that we wanted off Seller Central, and it was no joke, right? So Cobalt's nice because it pulls everything in. We can pull the ads reports in as well as the Seller Central reports so that we can look at things like tacos and ROAS and overall account metrics. We can also look at things like trends, right? So we can bring in products on a product by product basis and see which ones are growing and which ones are dying. Other things that lets us look at is like buy box, and that's like what's nice is like you can run a buy box report in Seller Central, but you can't look over time. You actually have to go in, and I'm sure James has done this plenty of times, and you have to run 12 months worth of reports and then put it together yourself to really kind of build an over time buy box. One thing about Cobalt, it pulls in over time. So we can actually look at things like if we see one of our clients' sales drop, we can go in and go, oh my gosh, like they lost 20% buy box. And then we can dig deeper and go, okay, which products lost the buy box? Because we can pull in all the products and look on SKU by SKU basis where that buy box is losing traction. Then on top of that, to level up, beyond our clients' data, we can pull in market data. So we can say who's getting that buy box, who's stealing it. And then we can pull in and say, okay, what other 3Ps are selling this product? And we can pull a 3P seller report and we can see who's taken that buy box and how they're getting it and and where are they going under price? Well, then maybe we need to put a repricer on, or maybe we need to go and talk to our distributor and work on our distribution network so that we don't have people going below map. And all those things kind of snowball in from the actual Cobalt reporting. So that's why it's so powerful. beyond just looking at our clients' metrics, really looking at the market data. And then, like we were talking earlier, looking at the market in general, right? Like looking at like who the top players are, 1P versus 3P. Looking at shelf intelligence is a really awesome tool in there. So it's kind of showing your share of voice in each keyword and who has the most share of voice in each keyword and things like that. So looking beyond the keyword data, but okay, this is a great keyword. Now, what is the share of voice for the top sellers, or what is my share of voice in that keyword, and how can I increase it? So, there's all these great tools, but basically what it does on a high level is it compiles all of those monotonous reports from Seller Central into a way that we can actually visualize the data in whatever metrics we want to see. Like, what's my, ACoS by SKU? What's my tacos by SKU? What's my margin by SKU? So, like, all these types of things we can really look at on a granular level, like James said. And then also just market data. They want to launch a new product. One thing I commonly use Cobalt for is international expansion, right? Like everybody is like, great, you're doing well in USA. What's your natural next step, right? You need to move on. You've got to go to Walmart. You've got to go to international countries. And so one nice thing about that is, just pulling the data in. What, like, is there opportunity in other countries and all that type of stuff. So it, beyond just like looking at our day-to-day metrics, it really gives us insight on expansion strategies and new product launches and all that type of stuff.
The segment feature is awesome. I really do like that. We have clients all the time saying, hey, can you pull data on this particular product or this brand? Why are they doing this way? Or that way we can do a little bit more in-depth research and compare how they're doing versus what they're doing. And we 9 times out of 10, it's a lot of price point, right? There's, you see some massive difference and you're like, can you get it down to that level? And be like, yeah, I think I can get to that price. I don't know. But also, I think Pete, you even mentioning on the purchasing, or Stephanie mentioned it before too, a lot of this data too is helpful for the purchasing departments of these large corporations to be aware of, hey, you need to renegotiate your pricing, what you're buying the product at, right? It should be just like insurance and everything. It should be a yearly thing. You should constantly be negotiating with your carrier every year, and you should be constantly negotiating with your suppliers, right, on getting the best price. Because if you're not doing it, your competitors are absolutely doing that, right? They're haggling, they're trying to get the price down to a finite. If you're on vendor, Amazon's doing that to you every year. They're trying to get the price down. So everybody's doing it. So this is really good. Also a really good way to kind of, feed that data to that team for them to make you competitive, right? As a brand or as a product.
Agreed. Yeah, because that's the power of Cobalt, right? It's like being able to pull in your data, but then seeing a sales drop and being able to look over and say, okay, what's happening in the market, right? Because not a lot of tools do that, where you're all in one dashboard and you can look at it all. You can look at your sales, and then we see, like James said, our sales are dropping. What happened? Oh, here's this guy and he's coming in $2 cheaper than me. You know what I mean? And so then we can go, oh, okay, or maybe your distribution network, somebody side doored a bunch of your stuff, and now there's this guy going below map and he's still in your buy box, right? And we can identify those things with the combination of your data plus the overall market data. And that's really where the power of Cobalt comes into play, because it allows you to not just look at metrics, but really to build strategy overall. As you're looking at what happened in the past, you're able to build plans for the future.
Yeah, definitely. Cobalt, like I said, it's been a very great addition to my personal toolbox of just reporting data, looking at more in-depth data, like James said, the segment, the brand trends. I like looking at how many, like the percentage of 1P versus 3P, like we talked about earlier. I like looking at, like James said, like the amount of ASINs, like looking at making a segment. Say, okay, there's this many people competing in here, at this price. Can I really, again, reasonably see success? So definitely a good addition to any Amazon seller's toolbox.
For a seller, it's amazing too because you can actually go into this market data and, like, say you're in supplements, right? And you're in a certain type of supplement. You can go and actually pull the market, the entire category in Cobalt, and you can look at in the past year which products have increased in sales the most and which ones are declining the most. And so you can really make really easy decisions on like new product launches or niches in the market because you can kind of see, oh my gosh, within this certain supplement category, multivitamins or something, these gummies are coming up like crazy. Like, look at this, right? And then you can go, okay, that's my next product launch, right? And so it's really valuable tool because it really tells you trends in the market as well, and declining trends too. Like the demand for this certain product is dying, so like you can tell your client, like, all right, we should probably phase this one out and start like moving in new stuff. So it's really great tool that way.